Yeah, I'm pretty
This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, welcome to the podcast, brother. How are you?
What's happening, my brother? How are you? I'm
Doing
excellent.
well, man. Doing well. I'm so glad to have you here. For those of you who don't know, this is Ricardo Jimenez. He services Central Valley in California. You're out of Sacramento, right?
Modesto, actually. Modesto.
Modesto. Perfect, perfect, man. And a few accomplishments that, or a few accolades that precede you, dude. You had a book of 580 agents from Zillow when you were working there. You're a Tom Ferry Elite coaching member right now. And you're projected to hit 300 deals this year. That is amazing, brother. So I'm so glad to have you on.
We're going to do our best. Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's an honor, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no
You're doing
problem.
some great work yourself.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Well, it's easier when I have, a roadmap and I have people like yourself and just great figures in my life that are giving me, allowing me clarity and vision to really see, oh wow, that's how they're doing it. This is actually possible. So that makes everything easier, right? And of course, I put everything in God, and that makes things easier. I just walk in faith. So that being said, man, I wanted to start with kind of like background story. So did you become a realtor right out of high school, or what's going on there?
No, actually, I went to a junior college for more years than I should have. And I was able to play some college basketball there. That was a great experience. Um, I did a little bit too much partying, so it delayed my time at the junior college level. Once I was able to transfer to a university here in California, got my bachelor's degree in liberal studies. I thought I was going to be a teacher, but I quickly discovered that boogers and tattletelling was not for me.
You were going to do a primary education or what?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be like maybe a fourth, fifth, or sixth grade teacher, but that's a tough gig. Shout out to teachers. You guys are tough folks.
Yeah, man, they really are, dude. When I was growing up, that was actually I went to college for the same thing, and I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work out, man.
It was, yeah, I would leave class every day just sweaty, trembling. It was 30 kids, and I was already a father at the time, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to take care of my kid. And you got to be a special person to be a teacher. Stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Well, at least now in your current role, you're still able to educate realtors and groom them, huh?
Yeah, I always knew that I wanted to teach something. I wanted to develop myself into a space where I can teach something, and so real estate gave me that opportunity. Um, gave me, it took me many years of trial and error, and I'm still going through it. But I love making an impact. I love helping people, whether it's our consumers that we serve, or in my case, I love serving agents. I I didn't know what I didn't know when I started in this business. I didn't have any examples of successful um, business people in my sphere of influence, right? So I just knew that I could come into this industry and just work hard and figure out how to make some significant money at first. That was my motivation, was just making more money. And so um, yeah, once I figured out that it was more than making money, then my passion really grew for making an impact and serving people at a higher level.
Yeah, man, that's important. I actually read a quote to this day. Actually, I read a quote today. That the more money that you have, the more people you can actually impact. And a lot of people are like, oh, money's evil, but no, the more money that you have, the more you can provide opportunity for others who maybe they don't have that roadmap, or maybe they don't have the opportunity right now. But I
Hmm.
think it's important. Also, I have a similar story to you, so it's interesting because I know we've never actually talked about this, but I wanted to be a teacher as well because I knew that I wanted to educate and help others.
Hmm.
Um, so it's very noble that you're impacting clients and you're impacting agents' lives, because essentially in our position where we're team leaders, we're able to help other agents potentially make six figures, maybe even seven if they really really want to. And that, I feel like that's a very empowering position for us, right? Because I'm just thinking of all the people that we get to impact, right? Let's just say we get I don't know, 5, 10 agents who each make $100,000. Now it's not just the agents we're impacting, we're impacting all the families that live with them, plus all of the families they help. So it's just such a chain reaction. And I think it's amazing, man.
Yeah, no, I'm super. I actually, I cry sometimes. At least once a month, I probably cry because you know we like seriously make an impact on people. I've been fortunate to help multiple people earn six figures in this career, um, and when you see people come from similar circumstances that maybe I came from, and then you see them have the ability to change their life, that's like a pretty cool feeling.
It's a very cool feeling to really empower others. So whether you're empowering them with money or knowledge or time, I just think it's amazing, man. So I wanted to get into this. So you played JUCO ball, which is amazing. I wish I was taller. Maybe I could have played JUCO. I love playing basketball when I was younger. So you went to JUCO. You didn't become a teacher. So what did you do after that? What did you go into sales or something?
I went straight into mortgage. So this is back in 2001 when you didn't have to have any kind of license to be a loan officer. It was the wild west of mortgages back then. So
yeah,
I got a $1,400 check for one full month as a student teacher, I think it was, or I forgot what my position was, but for the whole month I earned $1,400, and I said, I can't take care of my family on this kind of income. And so I had a young daughter at the time. And so I was like, what else can I do? And one of my buddies suggested that I try mortgage. And so, so I started my career in the real estate industry in the mortgage space. Lots of learning.
So you were a loan officer?
I was a loan officer. Yeah.
How long did you do that for?
I did it for a couple of years. I worked for a local broker. And what really inspired me there? I worked for a broker who I would say probably 80% of the people that worked at this mortgage company, it was mortgage and real estate. 80% of the folks that worked there were strictly Spanish speakers. They didn't hardly speak any English, and they were busting out loans. They were busting out real estate. Many of them I would have to help translate. When they were speaking with their clients or filling out a 1003. I was helping some of my colleagues because all they spoke was Spanish.
Yeah.
So it really inspired me working there because I was like, man, these guys are crushing it. They don't even speak English, and they were closing loans left and right, showing me their $15,000, $20,000 checks. I'm like, whoa. So I was super grateful for that experience. I met some awesome people, still friends with a lot of them. So that's where my career started, was in mortgage.
That's awesome, man. You know what? Just thinking, just along the lines of the Spanish speaking, man. We have a mutual friend, Mario Lou, dude. When I hear how much business she does, like obviously it's not an accident. Like she's English second language, like Spanish is her first language, and she operates at such a high level. I'm like, dude, I have no excuse not to at least produce as much as her, or if not more, because it's like, dude, she has a smaller clientele that she can actually work with, and we are basically unlimited if we're English first language. So that is very inspiring. Just hearing what you're saying. You had a bunch of coworkers who all they spoke was Spanish, but they were just throwing out a left and right a bunch of loans, huh?
Yeah. Shout out to Marilu. She's a powerhouse.
She is a powerhouse, man. So were you crushing it in the loan space, or did you already have your sales skills there, or what happened?
I didn't have any sales skills. I thought back then I thought wearing a suit and driving a Mercedes is what brought you business.
Oh, wait, does it?
No. So, yeah. So I was completely wrong. After a couple of years there, most of my business at that time came from the bar, networking at the bar. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. So after a couple of years, I was pretty brave, and I started my own company with a business partner, and where we did real estate and mortgage. They managed the real estate side of things, and I managed the mortgage.
Yeah.
And again, this is during exceptional times in history, in the history of real estate. So
Yeah.
that lasted for about 6 years, and then I got my butt kicked in 2008.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, man. And then so OA happens, and then what do you do? Do you stay in real estate? Do you bounce out, or what happens?
So I acquired my real estate license in 2006, and when we shut down in '08, I decided I would try and do sales, real estate sales. Um, and after 2008, I was clobbered. I lost a big house, big business, multiple houses, cars, all that stuff, right? The whole story. And I had just lost my mojo. I lost it, and I was trying to get ramped up in sales, and I just couldn't find my mojo. So after a year and a half of dabbling around, I discovered an opportunity at Zillow.com. A couple of years of dabbling around, I discovered an opportunity to work to move to Seattle and work at Zillow.com.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
And from what I know, you crushed it there. So did it?
I
Was
did.
it
I was fun
immediate?
there.
Was it immediate, or did it take a couple of years, or what happened there at Zillow?
You know what Zillow did for me? Zillow Zillow taught me my sales. It started my journey of really acquiring sales skills and really understanding the sales process. And even more important, it started me on the journey of understanding the power of relationships and follow up and earning and building trust with people. It was my job. You know, I was actually one of the older people I was like more of like the uncle on the floor. Everyone was a 22, 23-year-old UW grad crushing it. And I was probably in my mid 30s at the time. And when I first started working there, I just didn't understand. I didn't understand the power of like compound activity. I was just trying to hit home runs on the phones. I was cold calling realtors, trying to sell ad packs, and I'd go to my sales manager like once a month, like, dude, why am I just barely making quota? What the hell am I doing wrong? And he would always tell me the same thing, dude, just shut up, go back to your desk and keep making 150 dials a day, 210 minutes of talk time, stay consistent, just shut up and we'll talk at month 9, at month 12. And so yeah, it wasn't until about month 9 I started really cracking quota. I started to, making more sales than I had been. And then by month 12, I was, up towards the top of the list of salespeople, people on the sales floor. So it was that experience there. Number one, it like I said, it taught me the importance of staying consistent, of just following up with people, building relationships, and then over time, you earn enough trust to get the sale. So that was a huge eye opener for me. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this with real estate leads too, right? I can do these with my sphere of influence as well if I was still doing real estate. Like, oh, and so that was a pretty cool experience. The other cool experience about that was it actually at the time our CEO Spencer Rascroft, I really appreciated his philosophy. His philosophy at the time was really focused around the consumer experience and understanding the mindset of a consumer. Because many times as realtors, especially, we want the sale now, we want the business now, but you really got to take a step back and understand where the consumer's coming from, right? You got to understand that they're making the biggest decision of their life, the biggest purchasing decision of their life. And so they're not going to make that just because you called them once. They're going to make it when you call them again, give them some solid information, call them again, maybe invite them out to see a couple of homes, build some rapport with them. They're gonna make that decision once they feel enough trust with you. And so that was a huge takeaway for me working there, was just gaining a better perspective of the consumer mindset. And then I guess my other takeaway while I was at Zillow was, as you mentioned earlier, by the time I left there, I had sold I was working with about 580 agents in my book of business, right? 580 agents that had bought advertising from me on Zillow, and um, they were all across the United States. I mean, I had clients from Hawaii to Maine. The only state I didn't sell in was Alaska, and I was the first person to sell in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
So yeah, so I was able to see the agents that understood follow up, agents that knew how to nurture relationships, build relationships. I was able to see that, and then I was able to see the agents that just shit the bed with their leads, that had all the excuses, that had all the, oh, these leads suck, these are bad leads. What it taught me is like, these are not leads, these are human beings that if you treat them right, if you follow up with them, if you build trust, if you communicate with them, more and more of them will become your clients. More and more of them will be part of your sphere of influence, will be part of your past clients. So that was a huge takeaway for me working at Zillow.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, man. Everything you're saying right there is completely true. And it took me a little while to really figure that out myself. Was man, it really is a relationship business. It's not like, yes, we're going to do transactions, but that's just a byproduct of the relationship. It's not about the transactions, it's about the relationship first. So I know it's funny, I piloted Zillow Flex, so I have a little familiarity with Zillow. What specific things do you use it from Zillow, right? I know they're big on ALM. Do you still use that same method with your team now? Like, hey, let's set an appointment. Let's build rapport. Let's figure out what location and what's their motivation, or do you do it a different way? How do you run your team now?
Yeah, very, very similar. You just follow up. I think it's important to make that personal connection. If they're not able to meet with them in person, I like to try and encourage my folks to meet with those clients via Google Meet or Zoom or whatever. Really make that personal connection with folks. I think that's a 1%er that goes overlooked. As sure, you want to be protective of your time. You don't want to be showing the wrong. You don't want to be out and about showing all of the wrong people. However, if you got someone that as agents, we're able to gauge who's serious and who's not serious. And so getting out and meeting these people, even though maybe they're not quite ready to buy or sell right away, I think it's super important to solidify that relationship.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. I don't know if you do this on your team at all. I know I learned this from actually Tom Ferry or Kyle Whistle. Was as soon as I'm done with a call, I'll send over a video, saying, hey, it was great speaking with you. And then I'll also send them a YouTube video to the steps to buying a home or selling a home. That way, literally, they already are seeing my face again right after the call, and they know who I am. And then I'll send them my card, and then I'll send them a link to my website. So I think that just getting them to see you and you be, adapting more senses to the relationships, just introducing more senses is just key for solidifying relationships, because one, they're going to hear you and speak to you, but if they can also see you, that's another great sense for them to start understanding who you are.
Yep. To that point, one of the little 1%ers that I like to do, even if it's a buyer, I certainly do it with sellers, but because they give us their name, email address, and address, right, phone number. But with buyers, when I'm on the phone with a buyer, and I train my team to do this as well, I tell them, ask the buyer what the best mailing address is for them, and then send them a thank you card. Hey, thanks for connecting with me via Zillow. I just wanted to drop my business card in the mail to you. So those folks that aren't ready to buy now, at least they have your business card in hand, and they see that you took that little extra effort to drop them a thank you note.
Yeah. You know what I love about that, man, is that you're really you're building up a pipeline. You're building up a pipeline of relationships. And if you really manage it well, right? Like I teach my team this. I'm like, hey guys, only 5%, 5 to 7% of people are going to move this year. That means 95 to 93% of them are not even in the market today. But that's okay. Let's set up a relationship and let's set up a game plan for later on, and let's figure out when that is. Okay, hey, you're not looking today. Well, let's set up a game plan. Are you thinking 2 years, a year from now? Here, we'll put a map together, and let's, if you have time, 5-10 minutes, let's hop on Zoom together. I'd love to just meet you face to face and let's chat a little bit about your goals, so that way I can properly prepare you. So that way in a year from now, we're not scrambling around trying to get, credit together or finances together. I always I don't mind if you're a year, 2 years away, it doesn't matter to me. Let's set up a game plan. It's all about that, because most agents won't set up game plans for clients. They're all just trying to have one night stands, and that's where agents go wrong. We got to get out of the mindset of one night stands, right? Like, it's cool to call expireds, but most people you're going to call they're going to be 3, 6, 9, 12 months minimum before they convert, and we just got to
Sure.
accept that.
Yep. To that point, there's a lot of agents in our industry right now that maybe came in the business 3-4 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
During one of the hottest markets where everybody was just running all over the place, writing multiple offers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of those agents don't understand that we're moving back into a more traditional market where it takes more than just following up on leads with blasting the phones all day. It takes getting out there and connecting with people.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's super important, especially this year. There's going to be a lot less homes sold this year nationwide. So it'll be in your best interest to get out there and meet as many people as possible.
Yeah. And I think providing value up front and just continuing to do that, I think that's going to win. Let's stay relationship based and let's stay value based, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's provide important information, right? Maybe it's springtime. Maybe I'm going to give you spring information. Maybe I have a great landscaper and I'm going to share this landscaper with you. Whatever it is, let's provide value first, and let's not ask for anything. Listen, I'm not even looking to help you buy or sell. I just want to provide information to you, so that way, whenever you are ready, maybe you will use me. But I just want to build the relationship up first before I ask for anything, right? And I think it's just human psychology, right? You're not going to go up to a girl, hopefully, and be like, hey, let's go to the bedroom now. No, we need to let's build up rapport. Let's go on a few dates or whatever, and then let's go down that path first. But let's build up the relationship first, and I think that's how we win.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, especially this year too, bro. I mean, like I said, there's going to be a lot fewer houses nationwide sold this year than there were last year and the year before. Mm-hmm. That's just the fact of the matter. So you got to be doing extra right now. You got to be going hard. You got to actually be providing value. One thing I did today for a buyer of mine, I have a buyer that's looking for inventory is low, right? And I got a buyer that's looking for a particular property in a particular neighborhood. It's the college district here in our area, which is one of the more highly sought after districts here in my marketplace. So I put out a video today and I said, hey, this is Ricardo, your local realtor. If you happen to live in the college district in Modesto, this video is for you. I've got a well-qualified buyer looking right now in your neighborhood, and I can't find any inventory. If you're thinking about selling now or in the near future, I've got someone for you. And so you got to be doing extra like that right now.
Yeah.
We're not. Yeah. My job is not just to open fucking doors. It's to go out and help my buyers find a home or help my sellers get top dollar on their property. So we've really got to shift into that mindset. In the last few years, we've been in the mindset of just the rat race, draft offers, come back, draft another offer, go show some more homes. Now you really got to think about what you're doing.
Yeah. Yep. It's time to be professionals again. I think that's the overwhelming, aspect here. We just got to be professionals, and we got to make sure that in all aspects, we have everything down. So next thing I wanted to get into was kind of like your real estate upbringing. So when did you get back into real estate, and when did you start taking off like you are?
So I got back into real estate. I left Zillow in 2014 because I saw this need. It was actually pretty cool. I was while I was working at Zillow. I don't know if I should tell the story or not, but
it's up to you, man. You don't have to if you don't want to.
I'll tell the story. It's cool.
Okay.
While I was working at Zillow from 2012 until 2014, I was working at Zillow. I could look up any zip code in the United States, and I could see how many leads were coming into that marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And back then the pricing was, I mean, you can buy a zip code for 10, $15 probably. And so I was up in Seattle, but I was monitoring my home marketplace, which is Modesto, California, and the surrounding areas, the Bay Area. And so I had a bunch of buddies back home. I was still a licensed realtor. And so I was sitting at Zillow using my own credit card and purchasing zip codes.
Yeah.
So I would purchase, because this is back when folks didn't really understand Zillow, or didn't know Zillow enough yet. And so I was actually buying zip codes with my credit card, but I was buying them on behalf of agents that live down here.
Yeah.
So I would work for Zillow all day. I'd run to the gym, get a workout in, and I'd shoot home, and I would make follow-up phone calls on all the leads that came in that day.
Oh, wow.
And book my agents appointments. They would go out, show the homes. I would set them up. I would send out the MLS listings to my agents. I would schedule the appointments with the clients that we got from Zillow. My agents would show up, close the deals, and pay me a 50% referral fee. So while I was working at Zillow, I was getting paid referral fees with 7 different agents here in my marketplace. And so I arrived at a point where, like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave, and I'm gonna quit Zillow, and I'm gonna go back home. And so I had this, it was during the time when ISAs were just, the concept of ISAs was just starting to really become more popular. And so I consider myself a high level ISA for 7 agents back then. And I was just burning through phone calls every day, scheduling appointments for 7 different realtors. So that was the beginning of my journey back into the real estate space. I did that for a couple of years, and I discovered that I needed to do it for myself. I met my business partner in 2015, and he and I kind of shared the same mindset, and so we started building a team. And I had built a business before, but I didn't know what I was doing back in the 2000s. And so 2015, I hired Tom Ferry Coaching. I started gaining an understanding of what it really takes to build a team. Did that for a couple of years. Thought I could do it on my own for a while, but I still didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't, you can never stop learning, right?
Yeah.
And so,
real estate. That's so
yeah.
hard. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to lead a bunch of independent contractors. It's like herding cats, right? It's just like, you got to keep learning.
Yeah.
And so I've had a couple of different coaches with Tom Ferry and with other coaching organizations. But now I've arrived at a space where I'm very confident about our growth, about our future. I'm currently back with Tom Ferry Elite Coaching. Surrounded myself with a bunch of incredible, talented people that are doing some incredible work across the United States. So I've been able to align myself with people like yourself and others in different masterminds. And so I feel like we're finally arriving at a space of growth, a higher level of understanding of what it takes to build an operation. And I'm looking forward to it, man. It's great.
Man, that's beautiful, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch you continue to grow. I'm excited to grow, and I just see all of us, just growing together. There's nothing better than masterminds, dude. Just listening to the masterminds and having and then the coaching is important too. There was a concept I heard. I sent you a text yesterday. And I wanted to get your feedback on it. And that concept wasn't inside of the text, but essentially the video was about how fast, the best people, this is what they do. How fast does it take you to go from concept to implementation?
Oh, okay.
I was like, dude, why didn't I think about that? Right. It's like, if you want to be amazing, right? These are all $5 to $15 million earners. Then what they do is that they go from concept and they implement. The gap between concept and implementation is so fast. It's like, okay, can we get it done right now? Yeah, we can. or is it going
Love
to
it.
take me 2-3 years, right? Because I'm
Uh-huh.
sure there's some concepts you have in your world and you're like, man, I could have freaking implemented that 17 years ago and I'd be, X, Y, and I'd be so far away. But anyways, one of the concepts I was thinking about that kind of peeled off of that was for newer agents or independent contractors, what if when they signed on, we set expectations, right? And let's say the expectations were 2,000 calls in the first month. You got to go through 100 videos through the e-learning platform. They got to take certain tests. And if they don't do it, we already have an agreement signed that you're terminated. The only way for us to rip this termination up is if you complete everything.
That's smart.
And,
I didn't see that text, by the way, but
yeah.
I will look for that for sure.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Like, obviously, people are going to be driven by goal-oriented things, right? Obviously, we want them to do it because they want to. But what if we put in place something like this? Like, hey, if you don't complete it, we already have a termination set up for you at 30, 60, and 90 days.
Well, I just took note of that. I think that's a great idea because historically I've worked with mostly new agents, or agents that are maybe haven't achieved what they hope to achieve in real estate, and many times what their activity never aligns with what they say their goal is. Yes.
Yep.
So I think that'd be a great way to sort folks out faster. Hire, what do they say? Hire slow, fire fast. And so I think that might be a better way for me to apply that concept.
Yeah, and then I think it just takes away the because there's a lot of like emotions with it, like, oh, man, they're not doing what they say they're gonna do. Now I'm gonna have to coach them and remind them like, hey, you said this, these were the expectations, but no, we already have a termination set up from the beginning. So if you don't do what you're gonna say, hey, I'm sorry, like I really want you to be here, but you didn't do what you said you were gonna do.
Hey, you know what? I'm guilty of allowing people to linger around much longer than they should have. I we have a high level obligation as real estate professionals to serve at because we're serving people that are going into debt, 500,000, $1 million, $600,000, $400,000. Like that's a big deal. So if you're not doing the things to develop yourself in this profession, then I can't align with you. Like it's almost dangerous. I can't align with your excuses. I can't align with your bullshit. I can't align with your weaknesses. You gotta work on developing that, especially if you're going to serve people in such a high level capacity. So and yeah, I am guilty of allowing people to make too many excuses. So that might be a great solution.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are. And at the end of the day, like everyone has to take ownership of the actions that they do themselves and what happens to them as well. So we want to have a strong team culture. I think every leader wants to have a strong team culture. And I think accountability is the highest form of love, right? If we want to love on our agents, we have to hold them accountable. Because if we don't set expectations for them, then we're just allowing them to slip and not be the higher version of themselves. And then that's not fair to them or fair to us.
No, absolutely. Great. I'm going to check out that text message, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No problem. My brain goes crazy all day, all night. So I'm always thinking of stuff. So I'm curious, man. Obviously you got back into real estate during 2016 and you were with Tom Ferry. So did you make a gradual progression or did you jump like, hey, I got in, did 30 deals my first year back and then, or was it like 15, 20, 30, 40, or how did it go?
Yeah, it was gradual, man.
Okay.
It was gradual. One thing I'm guilty of in the earlier stages of my career was not nurturing my sphere of influence and my past clients. And so I had to re-ramp that up. I had to re-ramp, I had my demand gen space, with leads. I had to develop that. So it's a lot of just ramping back up, right? And putting the right systems and processes in place. Because my vision, even my vision wasn't just for me to do sales. My vision has always been to build a team and support a team and help people minimize their challenges, because I went through them all. I don't know about all of them, but yeah, minimize the challenges that I experienced earlier on in my career. And so it took some time for me to ramp up. It wasn't until really like the last 4 years where I started to see some significant production. And for me, significant production is our team doing 100 plus transactions. We kind of hover around 100. I think our max is like 131 or something like that. But we've it took some time to ramp back up.
Yeah, I get it, man. I think having the solid SOPs in place, having the culture, I think the culture is huge, man. Because if you have a culture that, every day we're starting from zero, every day is, Veronica Figueroa said this other day. She was like, hey, every day we start from one. We start on day one. I don't know if you know who she is. She's one of the big teams out of Florida. And she was like, she was speaking in Maui. She's like, every day we start from day one. And why is that? It's like, because what happens on day two, you start getting complacent. You're not hungry anymore. So every day, new day, So I think that's super important, man. And then having expectations. So I like it, dude. A lot of us aren't I don't want to say as lucky, or, a lot of us, it didn't, like, the concepts didn't click as fast, right? There's people I know, dude, they're doing 80 deals their third or fourth year. And I'm like, what the heck? But hey, the concepts click for them. It's how fast can the concepts click for us and how fast can we implement it, right? I think that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So going forward, what vision do you have for the team? Where do you see yourself in maybe 3 or 5 years? What do you see?
Definitely still serving agents, hopefully at a higher level. Not hopefully, yes, certainly at a higher level. This year the goal is set. I would like to achieve 300 plus transactions as an organization. We are really ramping up our efforts for recruiting right now. So we hope by adding some more folks to our organization and serving our current agents with just higher level coaching and information, it'll help push us towards that 300 mark. I think is really possible.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. When you told me who your coach was and what they're doing, I think you're aligned with the right people.
Man,
your coach is doing 600 deals.
Yeah, it's like 650, I think, in the last year and a half in a brand new marketplace. He's a genius. I shout out David. I'm really fortunate to be coaching with him. He's really taught me to think leverage at a higher level. Think just a lot of things at a higher level. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so I know me and you had the conversation, but just so everybody can hear. So you're getting coached by a guy named David, and he moved markets. He came from Florida or Carolina?
From Florida to Michigan.
To Michigan. Yep. And then in Michigan, what did he do?
In 2021, opened up started a brand new team in a brand new marketplace. He sold sold some Remax operations in Florida, moved to Michigan, opened up a brand new team in a brand new marketplace, and he's 600 plus transactions from September 21 to the end of 22. Wow. So yeah. And he didn't do one personal transaction. It was all recruiting. It was all production from his team. So I'm fortunate to be surrounded by some incredible people like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what does he, what are his pillars of business, or what does he focus on?
Well, a lot of what we focus on, especially as a part of the Tom Ferry ecosystem, what we're really focused on this year are giving attention and energy and activity to three main areas, and that's your brand awareness, your referral space, and your demand gen. Um, so really giving lots more energy and attention to video for your brand awareness, getting the message out there, building relationships virtually, right? Um, Demand gen is, kind of like your online lead generation and what you're doing there. And then your referral space. I've completely systemized my follow-up in my touches with all of my sphere of influence. I've got this beautiful spreadsheet with all the people that know, like, and trust me, a list of over 300 and something people, past clients,
Wow.
my sphere of influence, and all of them are being touched this year through mailers, through emails, through phone calls, video, through events. We do a glow in the dark yoga event. We do a client appreciation event at the movie theater here downtown. So so they're being invited and they're being touched and reminded that I do real estate. I do drop bys. One of my favorite touches is my sister is a baker, so she every quarter she brings me a bunch of boxes of cookies and cupcakes, and I go and hand deliver them to all of my, not all of them, but a large portion of my sphere of influence throughout the year. So all of these touches are bringing, creating awareness and opportunities. So those three areas: demand gen, referral space, and brand awareness are like kind of like the pillars that we're giving attention to.
That's amazing, man. It's funny that they say it's so true. Like, everyone knows what to do. It's just actually doing it. Like, I've heard everything you're saying right now, probably a million. I don't know, not even a million, but I would definitely say at least 100 times. I've definitely heard. That's definitely one of the common themes, and I think our buddy Clark, he talks about farming social media. So having your brand awareness is super important. Is really just nurturing that social media presence, because I mean, at any given time, if you put out a message, 5,000 people can see it, 10,000, 20, all of your theme.
I had a crazy discovery last month. Without any ads. I mean, I'm doing ads. I do ads, but without any ads, organically on my Instagram reels, I had like 48,000 views last month, dude.
You had 48,000 views?
Yeah.
What?
So we do this concept. It's called the 5542.
Okay.
Every day I do my best to check the box. So every day I talk to 5 new leads. Every day. So that's the first 5. So talk to 5 new leads, talk to 5 past clients or sphere of influence, 4 follow-ups, and I do 2 videos a day. And those 2 videos go on my reels, Facebook and Instagram. And those views, they're adding up, and it's organically creating a lot of attention. I just helped a good friend of mine of like many years, and he's like, dude, I see your videos all the time, bro. I helped him sell a house. I helped his wife sell her house, and I helped them find their replacement. And I attribute that to him just being reminded that I do real estate, and that's why he reached out to me. So 3 transactions in one, because I've just simply stayed in their space.
Yeah, you're doing the what's it called, the Coke method, right? The Coke bottle method, where there's Coke commercials everywhere. They're always connected to like chips and the Super Bowl, obviously. Or actually, what I actually like to calling it the Kleenex method. So Kleenex, you only buy like 1 or 2 boxes a year. However, they're constantly marketing to you, so that whenever they are ready, right, that 5 to 7% that are ready every year, they're gonna reach out to you, and that's the power of social media. So that's a great part, man. I've been getting a good amount of business from social media as well, and I'd like to think like I've been consistent, but I don't think I'm doing what you're doing. I don't think I'm doing what my buddy Leo down in LA, I don't think I'm doing what he's doing. Like, I try to do 2. I'll do like maybe like 8 or 9 in a week, but I'm not doing 2 a day, man. Sometimes I'll do 1 a day.
Okay. Yeah, just it's not easy, but once you get in the rhythm of it, it becomes second nature.
Yeah, I'll do it for like 2 weeks, and then I'll take like a week or 2 off, and then I'll do it again, because I almost feel like I'm overwhelming people. I'm like, oh, too much, too much information.
I used to think that, but I try to make it a combination of real estate, lifestyle, and my family.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to bother too many people.
Yeah, I like to do a success or a win, because I know for me, social media started taking off a lot more, and I started getting more referrals off social media when I started showing more wins. So they would need to know that I'm doing production first of all, and then education or information, and then I would do family would be but that's always my third one. So yeah, man, I think that's a good balance. I wanted to get okay. So what is a book that you're reading right now? Are you reading any books right now?
I try to read 3 books a month.
3 a month?
Yeah, 3 a month.
Yeesh, okay.
Well, so I do 2 audibles and one book in hand is what I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. How much time does it take you?
So I had a mentor of mine shared a great nugget with me back in 2010. He saw I was just in a rut, and my mentor actually used to be Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn, yep.
Yeah. So Jim, his vice president is still a buddy of mine, and so he was his vice president for I forgot how many years, 25 years or something. So he came from his background. He came from lots of personal development. So he gave me this nugget back in 2010 that I've incorporated into my life every day since then, really. That's read 10 pages of a good book every day. Fill your brain up with powerful information. Fill your language up with more powerful language, more impactful language. And so that's to me, I think that's been a huge part of me just growing and growing into a higher level professional, being able to communicate and articulate my messages stronger and more effectively. Just having all of those words and concepts in my brain, So it's just something that I've made part of my life. Every day when I'm getting ready for the day, I've got my Audible on, and then in the evening or early morning, I'm reading 10 pages of. Right now, I'm currently reading The Language of Achievement by David Byrd.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I've read that one. So The Language of Achievement. That sounds like a great book.
It's great.
And what's it about?
It's how we use our language. A language is powerful, right? Language starts wars. It starts fights. It creates divorces. It does a lot of things. You either use it right or you use it wrong. So it's just the philosophy of how to use your language in the most powerful way. I'm from Mexican or Hispanic descent, right? And there is a saying in our culture that is one of my least favorite sayings. I'm not a fan of this saying, and that is si Dios quiere. Si Dios quiere. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, that'll happen for me si Dios quiere." And I'm like, no, that's a terrible way to use your language. Yeah, God already wanted you to. Don't wait to see if he wants to. Like, just go and do it. Use your language more powerful than that. So to me, language is very powerful. It's one of our most powerful tools that we possess as humans. And so I like to seek out as much information on how I can best use my language.
Yeah, I you know what, that's a great concept there. I believe that your language, like whatever you say, you're either confirming what's in your subconscious already, or you're trying to change what is in your belief system. So just for example, if you're always saying I am a victim or I'm hurt or whatever that is, you're just confirming that already, and you're just allowing yourself to stay in that state. So I think we have to definitely audit the words that we're saying in our life, and just try and pay attention to what we say, because a lot of times those words can compound and they'll spiral you out of control, and you'll feel stuck because the language that you're speaking out of your mouth, or even writing onto a paper or thinking in your mind, it just compounds, and then it becomes more of that victim, or maybe that hero or that creator. So I think it's important that we monitor and audit what we say out into the world.
Yep. You're constantly programming your subconscious to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna make sure that those neural pathways in my brain believe powerful things about myself, believe healthy things about myself, believe empowered things about myself. I'm not gonna put out there weakness or fear or a lack of confidence. I'm like shooting myself in the foot if I do that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's very important that we control our language, and I believe that visions were given to us so we can go after them, not to hope for them. You know, I think that
Yeah.
we're given visions to become millionaires or help millions of people, whatever the visions are, so that we can actually achieve them, not so we can dream about them. It's to actually achieve them. Um,
Mhm.
so that being said, I want to wrap it up with this. I really appreciate you. So what is an amazing quote that you know live by, or is there a theme that you're living this quarter by? Like I know right now my theme for my quarter is don't allow my actions to betray my words. Like that's a huge theme for my first quarter.
Mhm. I've got a couple, but one is I refuse to negotiate with myself.
I love it. Okay,
Um,
Kobe, let's go.
that's a Kobe one, and
Let's go.
yep. I every day. I mean, I would say 5 to 6 days out of the week, I'm getting my ass up out of bed at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I'm jumping rope. I'm going to the gym. I'm eating healthy food. I am doing everything to empower myself, and obviously there's a lot of temptation. Sometimes I want to eat a fucking donut. I want to do, but if it's not, um, I'm just not negotiating. I made a contract with myself, and I've got some serious goals this year. And you know what? Everything counts. Everything matters. Everything I say, everything I do matters. And so I've got to operate that way.
I love it.
Um, yeah,
I love it, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Next time, I definitely want to get into more tactics, but I appreciate you for your time, brother.
I appreciate you, bro. You're doing some incredible work. I appreciate your collaboration. I think there needs to be more people out there like you that is sharing valuable information and trying to make an impact. You're an awesome dude.
Hey, man, I really appreciate that. I just believe that we have to operate from abundance. All the information is out there. Like, there's no secrets anymore. We
Yeah,
just have to understand, like, the information is out there. But if we could just come together, share the concepts that we know or are learning with people maybe in similar or maybe like areas, then we can just continue to grow. And I think that's the biggest part, right? And we have to be a river, not a dam. The more we act as a dam, where we just hold things up, right? There was a great presentation where somebody he was holding like 10 basketballs. Well, you've already got all your blessings, but you can't hold anymore because you're not passing them away.
you got to
Right?
give it away.
You have to give it away so that way you can receive more. So
Yep.
that's what I live by, brother. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
All
Be
right.
well. Talk to you soon.